Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Health is wealth. That is the topic for tonight. I'm going to be joined by my friend Chris, who will be on in a couple seconds, hopefully. But we're going to be covering all the aspects of health: physical, financial, mental health, how they all just coincide together, and just showing that if one's out of balance, it's really going to affect the other one. We're also going to talk about just why now is the best time to put your health first and why you shouldn't wait. And we're also going to touch on the societal programs around health and as probably some of you have noticed recently, the world seems really upside down and it just seems like one thing after another. And just a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to be touching on a lot. And then my friend Chris, who's going to be joining us, he's awesome. I have been friends with Chris for a year and a half, have also been working with him for a year and a half. He has so much knowledge in all of the things that I just touched on. And if you go to his page, he's always talking about, oh, there he is. And I'm just really excited to flow with him. So he should be coming on. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hello.
Keep going on the intro. Didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. It's okay. This is Chris, everybody. Thank you for being here. I was just saying that we've known each other a year and a half now, been working with each other for a year and a half. Yep. And that I just love having you on because you always have so much value to share. And every time I see your stories, your posts, it's always educational. It's always just trying to help people. And I just love that. And I feel like how the world is now, we just need more of that. And to have someone that truly shows up every day and just cares is sometimes rare, and it's really awesome. So it's an honor to have you. So thank you. But I touched on that, what we're going to be talking about, the whole health is wealth thing, and all the aspects: physical, mental, financial, and how all of those things together are truly important. And then if one is kind of out of balance, the other one's going to be affected as well, and just why it's important. And so I'd love for just to kind of give an intro to yourself, what you do, how is health important to you, just whatever you want to share to start us off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for initiating this and setting this all up. And hello, everybody that is on here, popping in and out, and also watching the replay, which Morgan will put up. If you guys have questions about anything we talk about or something comes up, I know the comment section or people jump in and off, we could get lost. You guys could type it in. There should be a question box, and then we'll save time at the end on anything. So we'll cover a bunch of different topics. We'll see what flows and what comes up. Morgan's got a little list of things that she wants to cover with you guys. So we'll get started with that. And for me, long story short, growing up as an athlete taught me a lot about health in a very superficial way. And what do I mean by that? Going based off the things that we're told. I'm 33 years old right now, and growing up as an athlete, playing ball in college, playing in high school, playing even professionally, which we'll talk about in a minute as well. I just had this linear approach to health and wellness. Just as long as you exercise, probably could eat whatever you want, you'll burn it off. Hey, make sure you go to bed, drink your water, eat healthy. Very vague concepts about health. We're very vague. And then you look at school and the schooling system, the education system, the food pyramid, health, exercise, PE, which had great components, great aspects to it. My father was a health coach, and he had his own way of teaching health, not just following the book and so forth. And so by the time I got to high school and college, I was always getting hurt. And that was one thing. I was always sick, and I would blanket and assume that, the cold, the flu, stomach aches, ear infections, they're just normal. And it's just the card you dealt. Oh, happened to be a Friday. We just picked the wrong card today. And literally, did I have any awareness that actually these things were in my control? They were in my awareness. They were in my power to change. So high school my nickname was Ice Pack. I was always getting hurt. It was very interesting. And I found myself always hurt, or in the training room, or always with some kind of stomach issue or whatever it was. College, similar. I actually played every other year in college because of injuries. Partially torn labrums. I've had ACL tears. I've had 30 ankle sprains, broken bones, dislocations, And then going professional, playing professional basketball, I've had ulcerative colitis at the end when I was playing professionally in Mexico, acid reflux, allergies, hay fever allergies, very bad anxiety, hard to stay in the present moment. My nervous system was zapped, really abusing caffeines and stimulants just to get through the workouts. Didn't know much about recovery except ice bath, which now I didn't even know the deeper spiritual benefits. And so I was a mess. I was 25, 26 years old. I was a mess. So if anyone's watching this right now and you're going through something, like Morgan mentioned too, or she might have, there's 5 pillars of our health that are very simple that you can just literally get back to. And like Morgan said too, one of us can have one part of it really well and the other part imbalanced. And it's all about how can we find that equilibrium across these 5 pillars. For example, your physical health. So it's like your hair, skin, nails, like the physical, tangible 3D aspect of us. The mental health, number 2, mental health with anxiety, depression, multiple personalities, all these different components that our mental health does to us. And then our emotional health, we let ourselves feel for the first time in our life, where a lot of suppressed things, happen for me. And then spiritual health. Do we have this connection to a greater power? Do we have this connection to like a higher source, a bigger purpose, a bigger connection? People say they get lit up when they're a part of something bigger than who they are. Like they find this calling. And then financial health, which doesn't have to do with blood pressure or like supplements or diet and nutrition. It's literally like a blend of the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical into one, into what we see and perceive in our finances. So actually earlier I was on my little hike, where I hike and I walk up and I get a lot of these downloads at that time. And there's like 4 things that happen from the physical and this in the financial. And then I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah.
One, we're healthy, yet financially we're in scarcity, right? So we have good health, yet our bank accounts don't actually catch up to that good health. Or we have good health and we have great wealth, which is a goal that we all like to, I'm sure, strive to have. Number 3 is we don't have good health, yet we make a lot of money. So we're wealthy, we have tons of money, yet we're spending it on medications and doctor visits and so forth. And number 4 is we don't have good health and we don't have any money. So it's like a little quad. It's a quadrant, right? It's like, which are we playing whack-a-mole? Because there's people that will sacrifice their health, physical health, mental health, to make financial wealth. And then there's people that don't want to create that financial wealth, yet feel amazing all the time. However, every time rent is due and utilities, they get this stress response. So the goal eventually is, how can I get physically healthy, mentally balanced, emotionally stable, spiritually connected, and financially abundant? How can we create synergy across those? And that's something I strive for every day. And then the things that I learn, I share with Morgan, I share with other people how they can do that without telling them what to do, by giving them clues, by giving them insights, by asking them questions, by listening, by experimenting, by trial and erroring, and then you find your way. And that's what really lights people up, that little aha moment. So that's a little background about me and why those 5 pillars mean so much, because a couple of years ago, probably 5 years ago, those 5 pillars were completely off balance. They were completely out of whack. Because even if you look at me after college and professionally, physically, this guy looks healthy. Low body fat, he's fit, he runs all day. Inside and mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, broke, completely broke. And it was hard to express those things because of what society puts on us, these labels and expectations too. So that's a little bit about what I became over time. And then those 5 pillars is what I always get back to, which is what this whole topic is. Health is truly wealth in both ways.
Yeah. And I love that. It's such a testament, because even with social media, we never know what's going on inside of anyone, their
Right.
mental struggle, if they're acidic on the inside, even though they look ripped and shredded on the outside. And we truly don't know until we, start conversations and start, figuring that out. It's interesting you mentioned your hike, because when I saw your story today, I'm like, yes, I want to touch on this, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there that want to make changes in their life. And, they see all this stuff online about all this biohacking stuff and all the, the red lights and all this stuff. And some of these things are very expensive, but you did mention all the things you mentioned today on your stories. those are free.
Yes.
Sunshine is free. Moving your body is free, right? So I think it's, so what would you recommend if someone's wanting to start making some changes in their life? What are just some free tools that they could do that they
Yeah.
could start implementing in
Yeah.
their life?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Great question. And it's interesting because if you're listening to this, many of you know these answers. So what I say, what I'm about to say, you know this. And perhaps you just haven't connected the why this is beneficial. How is this going to help me? What result is this going to give me? Because usually those unknowns is what stops us from doing it. Because you tell the average person, oh, go put your feet just on the grass for 15 minutes, you'll feel better. Out of 100 people, probably 95 or more won't, because they've done it before. They've never actually paid attention to the benefit. They haven't seen the result. Yet if they really become present with it and they do it consistently, right? Like they say, you go do 10 bicep curls, don't expect massive biceps. You do thousands of bicep curls, you'll be big as Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so there's the consistency part is there. So what you're mentioning is, what are these things that we can do for free? Because a lot of things happen, like red light. Like, I do have a red light. Yes, this is an investment. Same thing with ionizers, same thing with grounding mats. Absolutely. And that's where the wealth part that we'll talk about, the wealth, right? That healthy wealth aspect will come in. Things for free, absolutely. Sunshine. So now let me answer the question, because some of you are like, well, Chris, it's cloudy where I live, or it's winter, or there's no sun out. Then you have to go to defaults. How can you find some type of infrared light? How can you find that some type of sunlight? So that you got to look at your menu and what options you have and what options are available. Second one, which should be the first one if we're going in any kind of order, is breath, is literally breathing. And it's crazy because I want to stop right here. If you guys are listening to this, drop your shoulders. Even Morgan had him up a half an inch too. See, that stress creeps in. Drop your shoulders, take the tongue off the roof of your mouth, relax your jaw, let your eyes sink, relax your hips, and then take a breath through the nose and hold it. Okay, keep holding your breath. Inhale some more. Okay, keep holding your breath. One more time, inhale some more. Now inhale and hold your breath. Hold it. Most people live like this 24/7. Hold it. Most people live like this when they sleep. They live like this when they work out, when they work, when they eat. Now you can exhale. Go ahead and exhale. Okay, there you go. It's the craziest thing. Most people live their life suffocating. We are not breathing. We are literally not breathing. And a lot of you just felt a little bit better. Guess what? That cost you nothing. And it took seconds. And if you can be intentional with this and you do this every day, I literally do it on my stories every other day, or I put it in my little note, or I drop it in my Telegram, or I say it on my stories. Hey, stop scrolling, relax shoulders, drop the tongue, relax the jaw, hold your breath, inhale, exhale, now keep scrolling. And the messages I get, like, oh my gosh, I don't think I took a breath all day. So that's another thing. Breathing, nose breathing, very, very important, especially for so many other benefits and reasons. Next one is movement. Simple one. Moving your body. Our bodies are meant to move. A lot of depression, mental, emotional, spiritual disconnection comes from a stuck, rigid body. I use the analogy of a car. If Morgan has her car in the garage and she doesn't drive it for months, let alone days or weeks, what could happen? It could start rusting. It could start clogging. The battery could start dying. It could start, the oil getting stuck. It could be for anything, really. If we stop moving, if we literally stop moving, the blood stops moving, the lymph stops moving, the energy stops moving, the cells stop breathing, the oxygen stops breathing, and it costs you nothing to go for a walk. It costs you nothing to walk up and down your halls or take the stairs. It's these little things. However, when we're doing this and are holding our breath, we don't think about the stairs. We think, where's the elevator? Because I'm disconnected from my body, because I haven't exhaled. I'm not present, so I'm just going to take the easy way out. And that compounds that elevator ride, that escalator ride, that compounds, that dessert compounds, just like money does. If I have my dollar bill, $1 a day will compound. A lot of us are going to bed broke with our habits. We're losing dollars a day with our health. We're losing dollars a day with our choices. And then we go to our bank account, we wonder why that money goes down. It's a mirror. The financial health is based off your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So movement is so important. Earthing and grounding, like we talked about. Now, some of you, I hear you. It's snowing. I live in the city. I can't find anything. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And Jilly, when she traveled, she would literally go walk 20 minutes to find a patch of grass in between an alley just to sit on it for 20 minutes. Yeah. Because what you'll notice, not one time, multiple times, consistently, making it a priority for you. And these are things that for people that are saying, I can't afford it, right? It's too expensive. It's not in my budget. These are things that before adding those supplements, before getting those biohacks, before getting all these new products and all these things, perhaps even in investing in your Kangen machine for some of you, get your foundation right. These are the foundational pillars of life. Breath, simple breathing, hydration, sunshine, movement, right? And then grounding and earthing. That's it. That's the simplest way to start, because if you can't do those daily, it's no wonder that diets don't work for you. It's no wonder that supplements, you don't feel the effect, because you have yet to train the brain, you have yet to train the body, the nervous system to compound choices and priorities every single day in your life. So I make it a priority to go for a walk, and I do things when I'm walking. I make it a priority to breathe throughout the day and make it a priority. And until it becomes a priority, it'll just be an excuse. And we want to help you transform that. So those are my basic foundations. There's tons of other ones, right? Then you be a part of a community. That could be for free. Be grateful. That's free. Upgrading your language. That's free. Literally changing your words. You don't have to pay for that word change. That's free. Gratitude. That's free. Compassion. These things, these acts of kindness are free. And that turns into a whole chemical avalanche in your body. Oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, melatonin, vasopressin, all of these things. We have a pharmaceutical, not the bad one, the good pharmaceutical in our bodies right now. Endocannabinoids, cannabinoids, endorphins. Like, we have so many of these receptors, and like the God that designed us did not make any mistakes. We have everything that we need if we learn how to tap into it. Not many of us know how to drive a car or how a car works, yet we trust it. Same way we do with God. A lot of us don't know how our body works. We just trust it's going to wake us up, move our body, eat our food, digest, drink our water, process, breathe, flex, run, stretch, bend, sleep, drink, get drunk, get high. We just trust it. When you start learning how those things happen, you have an appreciation for it. You go from trusting it to appreciating your body. Because when you learn what happens when the blood flows, when you learn what happens when the bowels move, when you learn what happens when the kidneys and the liver filters, when you learn what happens when the brain processes and operates, when you learn what happens when the heart leads and puts out a frequency that attracts things in your life, you're going to appreciate those parts of you never knew before. So those are some free things you can do. You can do them daily. And I would recommend getting that foundation for you, whatever those are, whatever you can do. And if you can't do some of those things, like it's cloudy or it's snowing, you got to do a little research, turn off the TV, spend some time doing a little research, asking questions, learning from other people on how you can make that happen, right? Which is so, so important. So a lot of things in our life, the best things sometimes are truly free, which is awesome. Yeah, which is awesome.
It's like you said, it's a priority, because even, people that have full-time jobs, and say they're in a stress state most of the time.
Yeah.
Prioritizing getting up an hour earlier, it may seem like an inconvenience or so hard at first.
Yeah.
But give yourself that hour just to yourself in your own energy to read a book, to meditate if that's what you do, to pray if that's what you do, to stretch, to move your body. Because with movement, for me personally, if I don't move my body every day, and it doesn't always have to be like a full-on HIIT workout or something like that. If I don't walk or get some movement in, for one, I don't sleep well.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm thinking more. It's just it's like you sacrifice something to get something better, right? So you might sacrifice an hour of sleep, but you then maybe try to go to bed earlier if you can. It's putting it as a priority, and until then, yes, it will be an excuse, and that's just something you have to decide for yourself.
Yeah, and you said something very good. You said when you don't move, it's hard to sleep. And as soon as you said that, your words painted a picture for me. You guys know, or you know, Morgan, too, this happens, and you guys watching, when your arm falls asleep, right? When it's hanging off your head, it's like the blood flow stops going there and you can't feel it, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you're not moving, instead of that arm dangling off your bed, it's everything below the neck down that's not moving. And all that blood flow gets stuck where? Up in the brain. Because all of the energy moves upwards, because water can defy gravity. Your blood is 90% water, guys. How can blood go from your feet to your brain? Yeah, the heart vortexes and moves it. Water also can defy gravity. So if all your energy is going to thinking all day, overthinking, thinking about someone who's thinking about you, of what you're thinking about, probably not them thinking. It's like one of those mazes that we go through. All that energy is going to get stuck in your head. So when you stretch, twist, turn, bend, flex, rotate, reach, pull, push, press, twist, squat, lunge, hinge, all of you do this. You reach for the cupboards, you take the groceries out the car, maybe you pick up something off the ground, you put on your shoes, you cook, you write, you clean, you twist, you wave. We do these movements, we just do them without intention. And what Morgan was saying, because now she moves her body, simple, could be simple as a walk, which is incredible too, because when you walk, I think we talked about this before, your right foot and your left foot, when they hit, you use left hemisphere, right hemisphere, left hemisphere, right hemisphere. You are actually, got my little brain guy, you are actually using your whole brain when you go for walks, guys. When you step with your left foot, this hemisphere turns on. When you step with your right foot, this turns on. So here we go, ready? Walking. I'm walking. And you are literally exercising your brain hemispheres. You never looked at walking the same. Some of you are about to go for a walk right after this live, even if it's pitch black dark. So that's why movement is so important, because you want to get that energy moving. And another thing you said too, I have kids, I am busy, I'm stressed, I have a job, I have got so much going on, I don't have time to move. Those are the reasons why you should move. So kid time is easier. So working is easier. It's like we do this before, if this, then when, or like when I do this, then this will happen. And usually that never happens. To get it, we've got to flip it. It's like people wait to invest in things until they're a millionaire. And so they keep waiting for the millions, they keep waiting, and it never comes, so they never invest. Or they invest now, which helps them become the millionaire. So if your excuse is my kids, or I'm too tired, or I don't have the money, or this and that, that's probably the reason why you should do these things for free, to make those things less stressful, instead of waiting for those stresses to go away so then you can go for a walk. So that's another thing, guys. Flip your thinking. So much of our thinking's been inverted. Flip it. Do the things to get the result instead of waiting for the result to then allow you to do the thing. Make sense?
Yeah. It's like, don't wait, not only from the financial aspect, but like, don't wait till you're sick to start focusing on your health, because it's a lot easier to then prevent illness later on.
Yes.
So it is worth an investment now to then, because I mean, you know this, like doctor bills are freaking insane.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen them. Debilitating. Absolutely. Yeah. And the investment part is hard because you got to be patient. However, if you look at the word patient, the word pay is in it. Patience pays. Patience will pay off. It's just, how can you be patient of these little investments every day? And like someone said, yeah, a lot of us create our own stress. We get addicted to our stress because we've been addicted to fight or flight, and we're addicted to those chemicals. You can be addicted to oxytocin. That's why you love your partner. You can also be addicted to dopamine. That's why you love scrolling. You can also be addicted to stress. That's why you love the pain. So like, when will you actually accept this and call this in and acknowledge it and love yourself for it? Because that's the path of healing, is loving all parts of it, even the fear. I know we've had a call about that, even like fear and what that does to the body, the emotional health as well.
I would love to touch on this because you've helped me with this in the past. If their kind of go-to is stress and overthinking and thinking of the worst and the pessimism, but they truly want to change, but they feel it's so embedded in their neuro pathways that it's just so hard. What would you recommend? How do they start shifting that?
Yeah. Well, usually the reason why, plain and simple, the reason why the resistance gets bigger and bigger and bigger is because the outcome or the byproduct of that resistance is comfortable. So you're very comfortable by being resistant to making a change, because outside of the comfort is the unknown, right? Out of the comfort zone is the unknown. Many people don't know what it's like to wake up without stress. So if we don't know what it's like, therefore it is quote unquote an unknown for us. We don't know that path. We've never experienced it before. That's why when you were little, looking at a bicycle, you would think it's like it's a monster, because you see people fall, like you get off, you fall, and it's like, it's terrifying, and it's the unknown, it's the fear. So you're paralyzed and you're terrified to get on your bike to start riding it. As soon as you start riding it, you cannot stop. You cannot stop. So the whole point is, if you're ever in a position, right, where you're looping or you're cycling or you're constantly circling over and over and over, this is what I help Morgan with too, and this is what helped me a lot too. There's one word that can help neutralize it, because usually, I ask people, what's the opposite of fear? Fear or hate? What's the opposite of it? And at first, you don't know, because you've never experienced it before, right? I can't tell a kid, hey, what's the opposite of not riding a bike? He'd say riding a bike. And I say, how is that? I don't know. I've never ridden a bike before. My question to you is, have you actually loved? That's the word. Have you fallen in love with these loops? And it's the most ironic, weirdest, triggering, what the heck is this guy talking about thing I've ever heard. And that's the point. That is the exact point. So if you've gone through cycles of pain, have you actually fallen in love with those cycles? Because as soon as you love something, as soon as you see it and acknowledge it and love it and stay there, stay and love it, in that moment, all of a sudden, all these weird things are going to change in your body, and you will start seeing the lesson there for you. You will start seeing the wisdom there for you. You will start seeing the actual value of those cycles of pain for you. We don't go through them just to go through them. There's a bigger purpose at play. Yet if we fear it, hate it, ashamed of it, we're guilty of it, we resent it, right? These things, I call them the snowball words. Fear, I'm shameful of fear. And now I've moved on. Well, now I'm resenting the shame that I was having by being in fear. Now I'm hating the fact that I resented myself for shaming myself about a fear. Do you see the compound effect? Yeah. That's the compound effect. Well, if you get to the bottom of the pyramid scheme, the pyramid scheme that we put our own minds through, guys, this is the pyramid scheme. It's the fear, the shame, the resent, the depression, the hate, the grief, and the anger. Those are all interconnected words that are all pretty much the same thing. They're just different vowels and different expressions, and we paint a picture for it. You ever play Jenga, you guys? Morgan, you play Jenga? What do you do? What do you do?
You push one out.
Go ahead. Take a piece. Take a piece from the video. Okay, she just pulled shame away. Go ahead, take another piece. Okay, she just pulled anger away. Take another piece. Okay, see what she's doing? The only way you can remove these pieces is by loving the game itself. You got to fall in love with these emotions. Because if you hate this, if you're terrified of it and you're anxious, now shake your hand, Morgan. Now go grab it. You'll be a mess again. Then what happens? The cycle repeats itself. The cycle repeats itself. We get anxiety, we get depression, we get fearful of these things. So for me, I look at, okay, just like we talked about 20 minutes ago, what's the core? What's the foundation? Most likely it's fear. Fear is what controls humanity. Fear and hate, right? Those deep, deep wounds of like anger and like all those at the core of it, fear is truly the opposite of love. So if I can replace the Jenga block at the bottom with love, what's going to happen next to shame? I'm going to forgive myself. What's going to happen next to resent? I'm going to accept myself. What's going to happen next into anger? I'm going to have compassion and kindness for myself. What's going to happen next for grief? I'm going to have forgiveness for myself, or I'm going to accept, or whatever word you want to switch. So now all we did was shift the blocks. And every time you change the blocks, you're going to cry. Every time you change the blocks, your digestion is going to improve. Every time you change the blocks, your blood pressure is going to change. Every time you change a block, your skin's going to change. Your hair's going to change. Your mindset's going to change. Your sleep's going to improve. Your energy's going to improve. And all this stuff was free. All of this stuff was free.
Yeah.
And that's the craziest part, because so many people, I've seen chemo bills. I've seen medications. I've seen it in the millions when my father went through that insurance covered and they made money off of him. I saw it, made me sick. And yet the very simplest things that we can do to change ourselves are truly free. So whatever that piece that you're going through, of those pillars, of those blocks, right? Anger, shame, fear, resent, grief, frustration, hate, envy, lust, sadness. These things are teachers. They are not labels that define you. They are teachers. We are blessed by God to experience the full emotional scale, because you'll hear some people say, hey, emotions don't matter, suck it up, do your thing. Cool. All respect, all power to you, do your thing. For most of us, though, we have lost this scale. We have no clue this scale even exists, and this scale owns us, it defines us, it controls us, it manipulates us, it boxes us, it cages us, it holds us back to who we can become, all because we're stuck playing this game of Jenga with a shaky hand, and we're too terrified to love the game itself. So when you can love fear, when you can love these things, you will immediately flip the script, and you will start to get answers. You will continue to get lessons. You will have your breakthroughs, and you will love when you're in fear. It's like, what? You will love when you're when you have grief. You'll love when you're in anger, because I promise you, when you start loving those things, they won't happen. Anger doesn't exist anymore, because anger is just an emotional scale of a vibration that wants to be seen, felt, heard, and recognized. It's energy. It's all energy, it's frequency, vibration, like Tesla would say. Many of us just like to go fight the fear. We like to suppress it. We like to hide it. We like to numb it. Imagine
run from it.
Or run from it. Imagine doing that to your partner. Imagine doing that to Raul. Like hide, run, fight him, run from him, suppress him, shut him up. Right?
Yeah.
We do this with our partners. We do it with ourselves. We do it with our marriages. We do it with our kids. And all we got to do is start loving these parts of ourselves. And all of a sudden, the fear, hate, anger, sadness, grief, lust, envy, ego, well, it melts. It melts and it washes away, and it becomes what it's supposed to be, which is always love.
Yeah. It's wild. It seems like the most simple thing, and it can be. It's just we tend to complicate things.
Yes.
Or it's our the attachment to it, because it's what we've known for so many years, and it's change, and it's uncomfortable, but you go through the uncomfortable to get to a more comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just like ice baths, hiking, working out. Nobody likes to have their heart rate just through the roof. I mean, some people do. I get it. A lot of people, man, I'm sore. I don't do this. It's like that's where the growth is. So I love it. I love ebbs. I love discomfort. And the reason I can explain this is because I've been through every emotional piece of my emotional health, because that was one thing that was really low and lacking. And then with human design, which we don't even get into, I have different emotional traits of it that I'm able to process these things. And then also, Morgan, like you mentioned, these labels, these words that have literally, the words of shame. What does, hey, shame on you. Do you know what that has done for a child? And that what becomes and manifests into an adult, and all of a sudden the pain they cause on others. Yeah. And I love this whole, just a side note too, this whole saying, the difference between, I don't know if I told you this too, and you guys are listening are to love this too. What's the difference between a hero and a villain?
I don't know.
Okay. They've both gone through some type of pain. Okay. The villain wants to make sure everyone else feels the pain. The hero makes sure no one else has to feel the pain that they did. So who are you? Are you a hero, or are you the villain in your life first? With yourself. Are you the villain of your own self? The pain you went through, do you want to make sure you keep experiencing that pain and others around you? Even though you care about them, yet your actions are narcissistic, gaslighting, egotistical. You're the villain. Yet you put a smile on your face. Oh, what a nice lady. Or are you the hero of your own journey? Because we all have our own characters. You're the hero of your own journey, and you went through some shit. You went through some pain. You went through some trauma, and you came out better. Now you're getting why I say this. You came out better from this, and because you came out of that pain better, you're looking back and you learned how you did that. And your now mindset that your heart and your mind are talking about is, how can I make sure no one has to go through this again? How can I make sure no one else has to experience this like I did? How can I? And that's where heroes arise within yourself. because we know the world is controlled by these villains, not because they're like scary and they wear masks and the shapeshifters and all these crazy stuff. It's because they went through pain and they didn't come out better. They came out worse. They went backwards. They got stuck in that trauma loop. So they became self-serving, left brain dominant, egotistical, self-serving, quote unquote evil. I won't go any farther with the labels. And now they want to make sure every person, man, woman, child, animal, plant, fungi, ocean, stream, forest, river, experiences the pain they did. And they found a way to control the world until we showed up and we became our own heroes. So when you're healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, you're a hero to yourself, to your partner, to your family, to your friends, and then your community, then your city, then your state, then your nation, then your planet. People get really intimidated, and we'll get back to health as well. This is the last thing I want to say. People get really intimidated with the whole quote of, I'm here to change the world. Like, Morgan, don't you want to change the world? No, it's like, yeah. Deep down inside, it's a little scary though. Like, oh shit, how do I change the world? I'm not Superman. We are. So like Jenga, instead of saving the world, get to the roots, right? Be a hero for yourself. Be a hero for yourself. Come out of better of the things you've gone through. Make sure you don't have to do it again. Make sure your partners don't have to experience what you did by holding space, loving them, being kind, compassionate, giving, nurturing, caring, generous, strong. That's masculine, healthy masculine traits and feminine traits. Both have been suppressed. Then you will impact your audience. Then you're going to impact your following. Then you're going to impact your clients. Then you'll impact your team, and then your community, then the people at the farmer's market. Next thing you know, you're invited to speak on stage. Next thing you know, you're invited on a podcast that reaches 500,000. Next thing you know, you're literally somehow on top of the world, and you are now saving the world because you started at the bottom of the quote unquote foundation of it all. Super important. Hero and the villain is one of my favorite things. One of my favorite breakdowns, the hero and the villain, because we all are those things. Yeah, and someone said ego and the soul. Absolutely. Yeah, the ego wants to inflict the pain on everyone. So they compare and they alter. That's our matrix. And then the soul, God, right? It's like man, God, good, evil, hero, villain. We have all these left brain label parables to explain a simple story, right? The greatest story that was ever told, which is you being alive. Every person is the greatest story ever told. So really, really good analogy. Something you guys can definitely sit with on that.
My mind is blown. I was like, oh, we've got a whole like life coaching session. Jeez, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I feel like we could end it there.
Guys,
but,
these are regular calls me and Morgan have in our community. So tap in with us.
Yes, please. This is so great. I guess what I wanted to touch on too a little bit, was the financial aspect. There are a lot of people now that are going through financial hardship. There's, obviously the recession and everything, and job cuts and pay cuts and all the things. For people wanting to gain that financial freedom that I know that you talk about a lot, where, again, is a good place to start? I know you invest. I know you're into crypto. I know you invest in gold and silver. Yeah. I guess for someone that's, maybe in the 9-to-5 grind, maybe paycheck to paycheck, what would be your advice?
Yeah. Health is wealth. Health is wealth. And there was a great thing I posted on my stories today. Dr. James, I think it's Nicola Antonio, great page. I love all this stuff. He actually inspired me to create Cobb Codes with that type of format. I love the way he breaks things down. Very simple. And he said something along the lines, it doesn't matter how much you make, right? If you're not taking care of your body, not taking care of the other health pillars, right? It doesn't matter what you make. Like financial health, in my opinion, yes, I know people that can make money and still eat junk food and soda and not work out, and they're happy. That's fine. The dime a dozen. It's a very small fractional amount of people on the planet. So again, guys, if you're skipping the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual pillars, and you're continually trying to get ahead on your paychecks, continually trying to get ahead on these things, how Jilly always told me this too, is how you do one thing is how you do, I'll say many things instead of everything. How you do one thing is how you do many things. So how you do your free energy habits, call them that, free energy habits, right? The walking, the sunshine, those things, how you stay consistent there, how you stay prioritize there, how you stay on consistency, pretty much is the word. How you do there will translate to how you do financially consistently, right? The spending habits, the choices that you make in terms of purchasing, what is an expense, what is your income. So I just want to make you sure, guys, it's not like it's just, all right, here's your financial tips, go do them and you'll be abundant.
Yeah.
If you're skipping all these pillars, if you're still playing Jenga with fear, if you're spiritually don't connect to a higher connection than yourself, and mentally you're stuck in your head, like Morgan said, and you're not moving the body physically, it's going to be hard to expect an ROI on your financial action. It's going to be hard to accept a return on investment from the budget you make or the assets you even invest in. Because what happens to people that win the lottery when they don't take care of these other things? They're gone. Well, I mean, they're broke, they're bankrupt. What happens to athletes who make all this money yet aren't taught this literacy? Yeah, they take care of their body. Now they don't take care of their money. So it's not always how much money you make. It's what you do with it. It's how you allocate it. It's how you put it to work. It's where you invest it, where you save it, and what you do with it. It's not how much money you make. Because right now in the US, I think the stat was close to 60% of people that make 100 grand a year or more are living paycheck to paycheck.
I saw that. Yeah.
So who wants 100K a year? Like, I make 6 figures a year, yet I am able to keep that, grow it, expand it, double it, triple it over time, because I learned these aspects. And that's what society does not teach us. So back to your question. I know that was just a little side note on that. It's very important, though, the foundation. One of the best things you can do, and I'll give you another analogy, because analogies and metaphors work really well for people because it talks to your right brain, right? Like the working out. Okay, I get that. Okay, riding a bicycle. Okay, I get that. I've done that before. So that's why when you teach this way, you actually help people remember principles and concepts instead of information. Because a lot of you listening to this will probably forget 90% of this once it's over. You'll forget about it. Like, you'll forget what we said 20 minutes ago. So if I can get you to actually remember earlier, yesterday at the gym, getting in your car, brushing your teeth, if I can get you those analogies to bring it here, guess what's going to happen when you go brush your teeth? You're going to think about your budget. Yep. Guess what happens when you go for a walk? You're like, holy crap, I'm hemi-syncing. Because Chris gave me the analogy of walking and syncing. If I just sat here and said, hey, neuroscience, PubMed study said this about hemi-syncing in 42 patients, this, it's just babble. It's information. And that's what money has done to us. They just tell us stuff, but we don't actually put it together. So with financial health, one of the best things you can do, the analogy is a car. Simple analogy. How many of you guys, and you can answer too, Morgan, how many of you guys actually know how a car works the moment you turn your key in the ignition, turn it on, and it starts, and you start driving? Do you know every part that happens? Nothing, right?
No.
Nothing. So why do you drive something that you don't even know how it works?
I just trust it's going to work.
There you go. And what have we done to our financial system? You just said it.
We just trust it.
That it's going to work out.
Yeah.
We trust that we're going to get ahead of bills. We just trust that something's going to happen. We just trust the global reserve currency. We trust the dollar. We trust the stock market. We trust the government. We trust the bankers. Trust is good. Trusting the wrong thing isn't.
Yeah.
So many of you don't know how a car works, yet you trust it to get you from where? A to B. Many of us trust our financial education system, our financial currency, our Federal Reserve System to get us to retirement, to get us happy, to get us healthy. And we're far from retirement, far from happy, far from healthy. Yet no one questions it. So for me, what I recommend people to start doing, instead of trusting blindly and having blind faith in our systems outside of us, start learning, right? Start learning how the car works. Pause, hold on. Some of you are like, well, that's a lot of steps. There's so much to learn. Where do I start? Stop. Deep breath. Hold it. I'm going to keep telling you to hold it. That's what you just did. That's your fight or flight one. Okay, now exhale. Everyone exhale. Okay, cool. Start with letter A. When you learn the alphabet, you did not go to XYZ right away. Start with letter A. Start with letter B. Then C. Then D. By the time you get some momentum, you start getting a clear picture. So the question is, what is letter A? What is letter A? One of the best things I did 7 years ago was simply, before I even learned about money and like started reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad books, something that all of us can do for free right now in this moment. I pray a lot of you do this. If not, do it ASAP, is create a simple budget. Oh, but budget, that's no fun. Ugh, the reason why, right, we don't like it is because we don't like seeing the numbers that are going out. And we don't like seeing the numbers that are not coming in. Because for the first time you actually logged your workout. Some people go work out, they never get results because they never write down their reps. They never write down the weight that they do, right? What you don't track won't grow. You've got to take time to do this, because go back, or else you're just going to trust the money's going to show up, which is fine, man. Manifestation, I get it. Kumbaya, all the things. I get it. At the same time, though, you got to be honest with yourself, is how long is that cycle and how long has it not worked for me? So a budget is very simple. You just write down, look at your month of February or January, how much money is going out expense wise. That is expensive. Now there's different expenses. There's variable expenses and fixed expenses, right? Fixed expenses are your rent. You pay every month, that stays the same. It's your utilities, for the most part, stay the same. Variable, let's say you go travel in January and you did in February, you go travel on airplanes, that's a variable expense. So that's what goes out. A lot of times that number is pretty big and we're like, shoot. Because as soon as you reflect on a month, you'll learn, look at your habits. You're probably, most of you guys on this call, and I used to do this too, I was spending over $500 to $1,000 a month on things I didn't have to. I just trusted that I was supposed to. I was literally spending $500 to $1,000 on things I didn't have to. I just trusted and assumed I was supposed to. And then you look at what comes in. And that's why Morgan talks about this, if you guys are following her, multiple income streams. It's not a luxury anymore. It's not even an option. In my opinion, with our global economy, with inflation, recession, a falling dollar bill, rising prices, reduced purchasing power, gas, all these things, multiple income streams is mandatory.
Yeah.
At least 2, at least 3. I have 9. I have 9 of them from all different avenues. And I also have assets that grow over time and hold store of value. That's like later in the alphabet. ABC though, budgeting, what goes out, what comes in, reflect back on your last 3 months, ask yourself, what can I cut back on what goes out and how can I add more that comes in? That's it. If people did this, if thousands and families or individuals or entrepreneurs did this, their awareness shifts, their consciousness shifts, their confidence will shift, their action will shift. They may have shame, they may have resent, you may have anger. What did we say earlier? I love the fact I did this because now I know. I love the fact that I finally put my foot down and made this happen. Now I'm aware. And as soon as you say that, the endorphins will rush, the oxytocin lights up, the dopamine hits. You're not worried about scrolling because you're feeling good and you're empowering yourself, and things start to really ripple and manifest after. Now, back to this concept, because I could literally talk for 2 hours on budgeting because there's so many variables to it. Another thing that what you guys see Morgan share about, she does a great job, is being your own business owner. And that could be very scary because when we say that, you're assuming a CEO, staff, marketing, products, inventory, warehousing, a massive bank loan. I'm in debt. I have no life. Oh, that's scary. Morgan and I don't do any of that. Nope. We don't do a single thing. We have a company that does it for us. That's $1 billion company that's been around for 40 years and they're all good. They take care of it. We just tell the world about it. And that's an income stream. So the reason I bring this up is that every person, and this is what Rockefeller education will not teach you in the mainstream educational system. Business school won't even teach you this. I mean, you'd have to pay 6 figures for a graduate degree or even a doctorate, anything to even get this kind of information, because they want a nation of workers, not thinkers. We're helping you think better. That's what Morgan and I are doing. We're painting a picture for you to think better and see a clear picture, because you won't be told this by the things out there. In my opinion, it's just an opinion, financial advice, not a financial advisor, is that every family, let alone every person of age that's eligible, should own a home-based business for one simple reason: to write off the expenses that they are actually paying out. Nothing is expensive if you're writing it off, because you're chopping away at the tax. There's the scary 3-letter word that they tax everything. They tax your money that then gets taxed, and then there's like the whole saying of like a chain of reaction of taxes. And that's why most people don't have money. And they're paycheck to paycheck. Guys, it was designed that way for us to live paycheck to paycheck. That's why they made payroll twice a month, because they bunch it up the 1st and the 15th instead of daily. We should be getting paid daily, let alone hourly, in the moment, rapid, on-demand liquidity. That's a whole nother conversation with XRP. 2 times a month on payroll, we get paid. Why? Because they clump it all up in chunks. So as soon as you get the paycheck, what do you do, Morgan? What do most people do? As soon as they get the bank, put it in the bank, and most likely they go
pay bills,
spend it, pay bills, exactly. And then you got to wait 2 weeks to get the next paycheck. It's got the carrot on the stick that you'll never catch. As soon as you catch it, you eat it, they'll put another carrot that dangles. So instead of living that cycle and that rat race, what better way you can do is start writing off these expenses that you're having. So it's not like you're buying a plane ticket to an event and you're losing $200. You are investing in a plane ticket to an event that builds financial literacy, that will help you generate more income, and you can write it off come tax time because you're a home-based business owner. Mm-hmm. And they say the average family or the average person literally pays an extra $3,000 to $6,000 a year on taxes because they simply do not want to start a home-based business.
Man.
And that's what we share with the water. A Kangen water, you become a home-based business owner, an independent contractor. So you can either pay the IRS, the government, $5,000, $10,000, $2,000, $500 for whatever you do, or you can put it somewhere, invest it somewhere, like a home-based business, like a Kangen machine, for example. Again, not financial advice, check with your CPA, and that you can become a write-off. Now, instead of the IRS, you're actually paying who? You're paying yourself. Instead of paying the villain, you're paying the hero, which is yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's the beautiful part about all this. So it comes back 10x. That's why when people say it's too expensive, when I hear that, right? When I hear it's too expensive, all I hear is that they're paying for things that they're not getting back a return on. They're buying things that are costing them over time. They are purchasing things that they will keep buying for the rest of their life. That's expensive, guys. They are buying things and expensing things that they are not writing off on their taxes. That's expensive. That's expensive. The stuff Morgan shares, that's an investment. So now you're into the whole language, right? We talk so much about conscious language. Now you're changing the words to financial literacy, not just the concepts. You're changing the words behind it, because each word has power. And the word expensive, if I say, hey, it's expensive, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, it's too expensive, out of my budget, out of my budget, out of my budget. I just did 9 reps of bicep curls. So guess what kind of biceps you're going to have? Expensive biceps.
Yeah.
If I say, hey, how can I afford it? This is a great investment. What's my ROI? Is this worth my time? Am I going to get more back? Can I write this off? This is awesome. This is an investment. You do the same bicep curls, you're going to have different muscles though.
Yeah.
And that's the flex that people should be after. Not the Rolex, not the Lamborghini. The flex is in the language change, which creates a bank account change. And when you start accepting this and you start applying these, Morgan's done this and she's building that up now. And this is what we teach in Wakewater Co. And we teach this on our trainings, and we teach each other how to empower ourselves, because we're not learning this. Your financial health without making more money, right? Without even you making 10 income streams, without even you doing a $10,000 in a month, your expenses will go down. You will write them off. You will cut back on your spending. You will live more frugal, realizing you're happier with less. At least that's for me. Mm-hmm. That creates energy in the body and space to then attract more. And you did nothing except shift a couple of things mentally, a couple of things exercise-wise, and all of a sudden, the income finds you. The sale happens. The expense disappears. The temptation leaves. The distractions fade. The white noise blocks out. And here's the best part. When that happens, your blood pressure, your heartbeat, your blood sugar, your sleep, your anxiety, your stress, your cortisol levels, those get better. One of my most favorite parts of being financially abundant is not time freedom or financial freedom. Yes, those are great. It's the ability to never have to think about or worry about money.
Yes.
That's freedom. Hey, Morgan, you want to go here? Sure. Here's my card. Instantly, instead of, Can I afford it? I don't know. Shoot, can I pay my bills? My rent is due. I don't know if I can. That is stressful.
And that's how I feel most
Yeah.
people, a lot of people, I don't want to speak for everyone, are at that point. They're always thinking about, can I make, like, oh, can I afford this? And yeah, like you said, that's definitely goals for me for sure, to
Hmm.
just be able to live and do and travel like wherever I want. And it's possible. That's the beauty of it. It's possible. And you just summed it up beautifully. It's just like when all of these five pillars of health are in balance, it makes everything just flow so beautifully. So,
Yes. Yeah. And you're on your way. Guys, like
mhm.
I said, if you guys been following Morgan, you've seen what she shares. She's changed a lot. She's gone from a whole different person physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And am I here to say that she has $1 million in her bank? No, I don't even have that. If you saw my bank account, you'd think I'm broke. It's not what's in the bank account. That's the last indicator of financial wealth. Literally one of the last ones, because like when you put your money in the bank, the energy stops.
Mhm.
It's the knowledge, it's the awareness, it's the mental clarity, it's the plan, it's the vision, it's the strategy, it's the roadmap, it's the duplication, it's the mentorship, it's the coaching, it's the coachability, being open-minded. Now she is literally wealthy beyond measure, because all of you are. And I love this little example too, is I know Morgan doesn't have kids, and neither do I. Yet, Morgan, if you had a son or a daughter, could I pay you $1 million to take them?
No.
See, Morgan's a millionaire. So there we go. That we get so caught up on the linear aspect of financial wealth. We get so caught up because it's got to be numbers, commas, and dollar signs. Guys, we're hyping up and flexing on a busted system. I don't even want to flex. I don't want to have dollars. I want to own assets. I want to own time. I want to own energy in my life. I want to own control and a clear mind and a peace of mind. I'd rather own that than dollars and numbers. There's a lot of millionaires and billionaires with no family, no spiritual connection, no community. They live in a fancy house and a car. You guys have heard this before. They travel and they first class, all this and that. Yet deep down inside, their emotional and spiritual, mental, and maybe physical bodies, well, perhaps those are the broke ones. So it goes back to those quads. So she's on her way. We're all doing this too. That's why I said we'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing. It's more than just water. It's more than just a part-time business or a side hustle. It's way more than that, guys. It's a whole new way of being that we teach in our community, on our calls, on our trainings, at our workshops, at our reunions, at our gatherings. Like we are truly coming out better, and we're doing it with thousands of people, So that's why I wanted to make sure you guys know this, to reach out to her. Not me. I'm going to send you to her. Reach out to her. Literally ask her questions. Be open. A closed mind. This is my note today on Instagram, those little notes at the top. A closed mind is expensive because you can't write that off, and you ain't getting a return on investment back. That's an expense. A closed mind is so expensive. You don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to say yes to the water, the business, or even Wakewater Co. or Morgan and I. No, it's okay. At least have an open mind to it. At least be curious. At least check something out. Watch it a few times. Sit with it. Feel it. Visualize what is possible instead of how you can't do it or how you won't do it or how you're not capable of doing it. You're back to those Jenga pieces. And every time you pull a piece out, you're going to fall again. And an opportunity will come up. I think Alex Hormozi said this. Opportunities, you only see opportunities when they pass. It's like most people don't see the opportunity in front of them. And then once it passes them, they look back like, shoot, I missed that opportunity. All while they're looking back, there's another one that shows up right in front of them. So it's like they're right there. So when you have to think about it for months and weeks, when you have to wait on it and overthink it, guys, it's already passed. Because the time you do start it and say yes, you may have missed out on 3 months of growth that you wish you could get back. And guess what? We can't make time. We can't get the 3 months back. I'm sorry, I'm not Nikola Tesla. I wish I was. If I could make a time machine to get those 3 months back. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the best choice is maybe you sleep on it a day or two. Yet if it's been in your hindsight, if it's been in your crosshairs, whatever it is, whether it's what we do or something else, and you keep waiting and waiting and waiting for the right time or the right moment, each moment is. It truly is, because every day that goes by is a day you just missed on getting better because you were waiting, because the fears, the unknowns, the doubts, the worries, the doubts, the comparison, what you're not capable of. Because a lot of us, let's be honest, me, Morgan, a lot of us don't even know what the heck we're doing. And that's not in a bad way, we all are going through life learning each day. We don't know what's happening tomorrow, next week, and neither do you. So why gamble and put that possibility outside of you, something you can't control, when there's an opportunity right in front of you that you've been calling in and praying for? And if you're not taking it, it's going to go past you, reel it back in, and that takes energy. And now you're 3 months behind instead of 3 months ahead because you said yes sooner than later. So that's what I want to say with that too. And yeah, I know it's about 7:30. Any more cues that you want to talk about, or does anybody have any questions too?
There was a question, Chris. I think this was back when we were talking about the tax write-off. See, on what you just said, does the money come back or just a percentage? I'm assuming about the machine.
Yeah, great question. So again, this is not financial advice. You can check with the CPA. Research this, guys. The benefits of owning your own home-based business. So there's YouTube University. There's search engines, whatever you decide to use. We live in a world, literally these phones, these laptops, these iPads, this technology that we can learn anything in minutes. You can literally ask Google that question, or DuckDuckGo that question, or frickin' the AI that question. And there's nothing wrong with the question. I'll answer it for you. I'm just saying there's so many resources that we can take advantage of. So tax deductions, things like this manner, is when you become, for example, an independent contractor. Again, I only share things that I go through, not something that I haven't done. That's my method of teaching. When you write something off, for example, a Kangen water machine, okay, you can write that off because you're a home-based business owner. It's not like you get that money back, because you have to take in consideration what the rest of your income is for the year. You got to take, are you a W-2 employee? Are you a salaried employee, right? Are you a salaried employee? Because a salaried employee, if you're making 100K a year, like literally 40 grand, 30 grand is being taken out of your paycheck each week going into taxes. Or your 401k, depending how you set it up, which I personally am never going to get. So you have to consider that part. Now, if you're like, well, I don't have a W-2, I don't really have much income. Okay, well, then there's not much you can claim on your taxes, because you've got to claim your income, so to speak. So for example, if you owe, or let's say you were an independent contractor, you bought a Kangen machine and you sold 50 machines, or you made $50,000 or $20,000, instead of being taxed on that amount, whatever your tax bracket is, instead of being taxed on that amount, let's say Morgan had $15,000 in write-offs because she, for gas, groceries, restaurants, travel, workshops, seminars, gallon jugs, blue bottles, ORP meters, books, webinars. Literally, guys, the list is absolutely, that was about to say a bad word, crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. And she writes all that off. It's not that she gets all that back. She just deducted $15,000 off $20,000. She just deducted $15,000 off $50,000. So now instead of paying taxes on 20K, she pays taxes on 5K. So it's like we're already paying for it. We just like to pay double. Guys, if you're on here and you don't have a home-based business, you're choosing to say this: I would rather pay double taxes. I would rather pay the IRS and pay them again because I'm not paying myself back. That's the craziest part that they'll never teach. That's why they don't teach owning a business in school. That's why they hush network marketing and entrepreneurs. That's why they don't want you waking up to this. They don't want you to be business owners. And if you are, they're going to crush you by putting fines, shutting you down because of the lockdowns. They're going to wipe out the middle class, so there's a rich and the poor. Entrepreneurs, we're outside of that. We create our own. We create our own economies. We create our own systems. We create our own budgets, and we create our own leverage. Now, for most people, that's scary and hard because we're never taught. So that's, to answer your question, it's not that you're going to get the whole, like, 50. It's not like Maureen gets that money back. Like, oh, look, hey, I spent 15K on tax write-offs. Send me a check for 15K. It's not that. Yet if you do it correctly and you have a good CPA, or you do your taxes correctly, you actually take that 15K, deduct it from your income that you made, 100K, 50, 20K, you deduct it. Now come tax time, you're paying a shit ton less that you have to. And if you do it correctly, some people, you'll get money back instead of always paying money forward. That's why every person should own a home-based business, regardless of whatever you do. It's baffling that we don't know this, and it's also not surprising because they don't want to teach it to us. So we will, and that's what we teach you in the community as well. Yeah, great question.
Yeah, and when you are an entrepreneur or have some sort of home-based thing, it actually, those types of businesses thrive during like recessions, like when the whole, COVID thing was happening, like
Yep.
that's when it blossoms because it's not affected. Like we don't have to like go clock in somewhere. It wasn't
Yeah.
affected. So it makes sense on so many levels. But again, because they don't teach it to us, I understand why some people are skeptical
Yeah.
or, well, wait, wouldn't I know more about this? It's like, well, no, because they don't want you to know about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The financial red pill you guys just took.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. This was so amazing, and I trust everyone got a lot of value from it. Someone asked, yes, I am saving this. I am going to share it on my page. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. If you guys have any other cues, fire away. I would just say, after this live is done, pop off. Just send Morgan right while it's hot. Just send her a DM. Just say, hey, just saw the live. I'm interested to learn more. That's it. I would highly recommend as many of you do that. I don't care if you're not going to, get a Conga machine or do the business. Just message her. Hey, I'd like to learn more just so I can learn, because we have videos and webinars that we can send you to watch that no matter, Morgan and I can't choose what you do. We can't like close you. It's not our job to want you to be healthier physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. We can't want it more than you do. Will we cheer you on, support you, empower you, mentor, inspire, influence? Absolutely. Absolutely. Remember, the most expensive thing is a closed mind. So message her, say, hey, I'm curious, great live, I want to learn more. Hey, I want to learn more. Right? Just text her the water drop or a money sign or whatever, a thumbs up. Just DM her right after this is done, and she will start having conversation with you. We actually have an open house tomorrow. I say open house, an open call tomorrow. If you guys want to be on this, it's at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And Morgan can send you guys the link. I'm hosting it. It's with me and my direct team in the Enagic business, Wakewater Co. There's about 20 or 30 of us that pop on, and we should have a pretty packed house. And we're going to share with you guys an inside look of owning your own business, results, success stories, testimonies, what we offer, the resources. So that's tomorrow, Thursday at 3 o'clock, 3 to 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Zoom. So you're more than welcome to join us there as well. And in the meantime, depending what priority this is, ask her for some info. We either have an hour-long workshop that I've done about the business, about financial literacy, we'll give you to learn and take advantage of. It's a great opportunity. Remember, opportunities pass by really fast. Last thing you want is to be chasing one and wishing you did it sooner or earlier. And also about the water too, because that's what we bring to this world. We bring that value because that water machine has saved me $15,000 over 6 years, saving Morgan hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. Literally, it will keep saving us money for the rest of our life. It literally cuts off a lot of leaks that we have in our wallets because we're no longer buying products that we think we need to because of one machine replaces 50 things. So that's a whole nother thing that maybe we do another live. We can even talk about how one thing can actually do 50 things for your health and your wealth too. So message her. 3 or 4 tomorrow, DM her, she'll give you info, nudge closer. If you've been on the fence, this is your call. You guys are great questions. Thanks for chiming in. And if you come to me, I'm going to say, were you on Morgan's Live? I'm going to send you her. She's ready. She's talking to hundreds of people right now. She's helped many people get these machines already. And she does a great job sharing and empowering. So please reach out to her and go through her because we all work together and so forth. So thank you again. This was great.
Thank you. And thank you guys for being here. Yeah, send me a message. Happy to chat.
We'll see you guys.
All right.
Take care. Make sure to breathe.